Good afternoon, everyone. Coin shortage in the United States. Paper bills may follow. Recycle prediction, ice-free Arctic by 2050 now. And a look at Zealandia, the 8th continent. I wonder what's built as previous societies along the shorelines that's now underwater. What will the US dollar look like once we tally up all the debt accumulated in this never-ending money printing fest by the Fed and all the central banks globally? Did you know it took nearly 8 years for the markets to recover after the 2008 housing bubble crash? Do you have 8 years to wait for the next recovery? With this much inflation on the way, only one investment stands out: gold. Patriot Gold Group has no fee for life IRAs where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. At Patriot, you work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today or request a free investment kit. PatriotGoldGroup.com. The link's in the description box below. I'd heard rumblings of this coin shortage last month, and I put this on my Patreon channel about 2 weeks ago. And there really wasn't a lot of information out there about it. But in earnest now, even the Mint talking about increasing quote-unquote coinage. They're trying to say that because of the COVID, that people didn't want to really handle change. If they do, they put it in a jar at home. They're not using it. The flow of money is not really what it used to be because people aren't going out and spending as much and always carrying change and paper bills around in their pockets. They're being much more careful about it. So what they're finding is the return of change back to the places you normally buy things just isn't happening. And you're starting to see different signs around the United States now, either saying you have to pay by card or please pay by card because we don't have change. And just a quick search engine query will bring up an enormous amount of articles now. It's becoming a mainstream thing. 2-3 weeks ago, it was just off in the ether over there, little rumblings. You could hear about it if you were buying silver and gold. You would have seen this coming. But it's here now, in earnest. So what are you going to do with your coinage? Because from the Business Insider, circulation of coins across the U.S. economy has ground to a halt. Now, this is an opportunity for you if you have a bunch of change. Would you keep it? Or are they going to issue a new dollar where the coins will be worthless? Not known right now, but something interesting happening in the monetary system in the US. And if you're able to acquire more coins, I might do that just as a way to have something that could be tradable. Maybe there'll be a premium on them. A store might give you an extra 5% or something if you give them coins. You never know. It's $1.08. Well, how about if I just give you 4 quarters and we call it even? You know, there could be this kind of arbitrage on smaller purchased items. Now moving over to the new predictions of an ice-free Arctic summer with polar bears not able to hunt on the ice. Oh, 2050 this time. Now this comes off Eye on the Arctic, and the logo's right there in the top right. Does that look like an all-seeing eye to you? And here we go again. Ice-free Arctic could be in 2030, 2035, or 2040. But I will quickly bring you back to the dire warnings in 2013. Arctic summers will be ice-free. They started the talk in 2008, 9, and 10. Al Gore. And who are the other names in history that have just disappeared that we never hear about anymore? Peter Wadhams, that would be another one. Ice-free 2013. It didn't happen. And even back then, they were saying the predictions might be too conservative already for it to be hitting by 2013. And then they strung it out. Oh, 2017 it'll be. And now we still have plenty of ice up there. Never went anywhere remotely close to ice-free. So let's just put it back to 2030. And in that time era of 2007 to 2012, it was just nonstop barrage of article after article circulated through the AP about ice-free. So in the article here, they reference 40 different climate models and CIMP6 based on sea ice density. So I did decide to go over to the Geophysical Research Letters site and actually dig into the article because I wanted to see how are we going to be strung along yet again. Everything's linked in the description box below, so you can chase this down yourself as well, because I think we all need to understand what's going on. With the narrative here, big orange arrow, which I inserted, shows you what the article is based on. Where that line of red crosses the dotted line at 1 million. So they consider ice-free Arctic at 1 million kilometers or less. which is really not ice-free. If you still have a million of something. I have a no money balance in my bank account, but I have $1 million. Hey, that's great. I'll take it. 1,000,000 square kilometers of ice is still ice-free. See, this is the kind of doublespeak that we get. So they were using different models running up to the current, and you can start to see the different colorations in there. As well, if they had observations based on real ocean circulation currents and how the Arctic goes on a 7-year cycle of warm meltwater pulsed in from the Atlantic, which is now turning into the cold for the next 7 years. David Dilley's research, we could have seen some of these gains and losses naturally. So you notice that same pulse right there in the chart, gains and then losses. And then another few years from now, we'll see another gain in that. So how reliable are these models? But delving into Tartaria and lost civilizations on our planet here prior to the Younger Dryas going back 18, 20, 30,000 years ago, when ocean levels were 400 feet lower than there are today, the coastal areas would have been quite different. And I really like looking for maps like this because I believe that we would find megastructures in depths of anywhere from 250 to 400 feet under the water across all of the continental shelves. So this is now the reconstruction of Zealandia, including what would have been plains, what would have been mountain ranges that are now islands or submerged islands, atolls. And we see New Zealand itself, which is the only remnant of that still above water. But if that was truly all water-free, you could have walked almost all the way to Australia. You could have walked up to Indonesia pretty much, sailed across a couple straits. So the amount of mass change in terms of our Earth and our land on this Earth, it's a continual change. And what we're seeing in the last 100 or 150 years has been very little change comparatively to what is possible on this Earth. And as we come in with more cosmic rays in this grand solar minimum, prediction of more out of the ordinary floods, here's a small list. The beginning of June, 2 months worth of rain, 4 hours. These are the types of things that you're going to look for. Biblical 1,000-year floods across China, still continuing. More extreme storms coming up through 2023 and 24. Perhaps that's why there's so many distractions right now, because there's so much inbound with changes to our climate and our Earth's surface itself. So it all comes down to growing your own food, supplying your own energy, and coming up with your own solutions to be more self-sufficient in a pioneering lifestyle moving forward. I talk about this in my Patreon channel, /Adapt2030. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.